Welcome to the Airgun Show. In this week's episode, I'm taking a look at the new Crosman Prospect PCP from Range Right. First up though, it's a busy hide session targeting grey squirrels. Here's one, mate. Here we go. Well, that one was a bit of a dangler, but I've said it loads of times before. It is a really typical nervous action with headshot squirrels. They clench up like that. They might dangle for a bit, but they are stone dead. Now, we've got off to a pretty good start, and I'm not at all surprised. Now, this is quite a new feeding station here. I've recently moved it across, but it's had a few weeks. I've been feeding it for a few weeks for those squirrels to build up, and they have got confident here. There were loads of signs of squirrels in this area as well, and I spotted a couple of drays, so as I said, I expected it to be pretty good. Now, got a new bit of kit today. I'm trying out the Rotex Ranger carbon tripod. I don't want to talk about it too much now for two reasons. I don't want to make too much noise, also I don't want to interrupt the hunting, but we have shot a little bit of video to show it in more detail, so we'll tack that on to the end. But I'm going to be quiet now, and we'll see if we can get a few more squirrels. Well, it looked for a moment like that one was going to be jammed in behind that feeder, and in fact it would have been quite interesting to see how the other squirrels had reacted to it when they arrived, but it's flopped down onto the deck with the others now. Apologies if you can hear a bit of road noise. We've also got planes above us. We're close to a road and we're fairly close to an airfield, so apologies if there is a bit of noise nuisance from that, but I'm hoping that the drone from this background noise will help to mask some of the noise that we're making filming here today. Here's one. And there's another one. I gotta say, they really are well onto these feeders now and loving the peanuts. And it's quite interesting actually, because we had quite a heavy acorn harvest this year, and it did make things very slow around some of my feeding stations through the autumn, but they're definitely getting onto these ones now, as I said. And I don't know how much of it Nikki's managed to capture, but we've also seen quite a few birds going back and forth to these feeders. Now, they're bound to be making a dent in my feed, but it is nice to see them coming and going. And these woods are actually managed for conservation, and the grey squirrels, obviously culling them is going to benefit the songbirds, but most significantly here, a couple of years ago they lost a lot of ash trees through ash dieback, and obviously the last thing they want is squirrels munching the new saplings that they're planting here. Another really clean smack to the head there. Now, I hope that you will be able to see from the scope cam footage that I'm getting that this tripod is just holding me dead steady on aim. Now, obviously it is about more than just having good gun support, and I have been putting in a heck of a lot of practice with this combo. Now, the feeders here, the hide's about 25 metres away from them, so with this setup, that means they just need a touch of hold under, and obviously being able to shoot with this level of precision, I'm able to land these pellets exactly where I want them. And yet another one, and I'm actually going to make that the last one because the light is just starting to fade, and I want to get those squirrels picked and top up the feeders before Nikki and I head across to the farm to try for a few rats. But we've certainly made an impression on these squirrels this afternoon, and I will be back for have another go at them in a few days time. But do stay tuned, because we will add on that quick roundup of the kit that I've been using this afternoon. Right, well, we're in the woods about to start a hide shooting session for squirrels, which you should already have seen, which is slightly confusing, but I know a lot of you like to know the kit that we use for these sessions, so I thought I'd run through it and do a bit of a roundup just to save you from having to ask. So first up, the gun is the Daystate Huntsman Revere in the Safari edition, and although I tend to usually choose my guns for function over form, this, it has to be said, is a beautiful looking air rifle. I love the rough cut stock. It blends in really well with woodland surroundings, and also the adjustment of that adjustable cheek piece is a real asset. Now, on top of it being a lovely looking gun, it's also a very accurate, regulated PCP multi-shot firing cycle. This one's sub 12, 177 caliber, and for the last few months I've been running it on the 9.56 grain version of the QYS domed pellets. They're lovely, clean, consistent pellets, and although I always say different air guns shoot differently with different ammo, this one seems to really like them. Scope wise, I've got the MTC King Cobra, which is a lovely bright optic. I often worry that the scope cam footage that I get through scopes doesn't really do them justice, but I'm a big fan of this one, and as ever I've got it held on with Sportsmatch scope mounts. So the new piece of kit for me today is the Rotex Ranger carbon tripod. Now, I don't usually use tripods that give this degree of support, but I've got to say the stability that it gives to your shots really is amazing. Now, it costs just under £400, which isn't cheap, but it should last for years. It will certainly improve your accuracy, and for shooters who, for whatever reason, are struggling with the weight of their airgun, it could prove to be a real asset. Now, because it's made from carbon, it is surprisingly light, and also it's got legs that are height and angle adjustable, so you can use it from pretty much any position, whether you're shooting prone on your belly or taking standing shots. Now, the feature that I really like about it is the fact that you can adjust the torque on the ball joint with the twist of a dial, so you can tighten it up and go completely hands-free as I am now, or you can slacken off that torque, which then enables you to make tiny adjustments to your aim in virtually any angle. Now, it comes supplied with a carry case and accessories including a carabiner hook that you can obviously use to attach bits of shooting kit to it, and also screw-in pointed feet that should make it really stable on hard ground, so maybe if you were shooting rats on concrete. And hopefully you've seen me putting it to good use on these squirrels today.
Rotex. Ahead of the game.
A rock steady session on the greys there. Next up, let's take a look at the latest PCP offering from Crosman. So, what I've got here is the Crossman Prospect. That's a nice, solid, regulated PCP with quite a distinctive look. It's distributed in the UK by Rangerite, and its recommended retail price is a comparatively modest £425. Kicking off with the stock, it's an ambidextrous black synthetic handle, and it's not one of those hollow, flimsy feeling ones. This one actually feels really solid. Now, it's got a nice long forend, and that's got a groove to create a comfortable hold point for your leading hand. It's got a large panel of stippling, and that extends from both sides and right underneath the underside of the stock. Moving back, you've got a fairly steep, nicely contoured pistol grip. It's fairly slim, but it's perfectly comfortable, and it features the same stippling as the forend. Now, the scoop behind it creates a similar effect to a thumb hole stock, except the gap at the top means that you can shoot thumb up if you want to. I really like the cheek piece, particularly because it's height adjustable. Just slacken off the two screws and you can shift it up and down to achieve exactly the height that you want. Now, right at the very back, you've got a fairly hard but grippy rubber butt pad, which has got a distinct curve which really nestles it into your shoulder. This is quite a large airgun, so it's probably not one for younger shooters. It's around 112 centimetres long and weighs about 3.9 kilos before you fit a scope. Now, it may not be particularly compact, but it is very nicely balanced, and I found it comfortable to shoot from all stances. The metalwork has a tidy black anodised finish which matches the stock nicely. Now there's a full length shroud over the 600mm barrel, and it actually gives more sound suppression than I'd expected. Nonetheless, it is also threaded to accept a silencer, and I would imagine that a lot of shooters will still want to take advantage of that. Scope attachment is via a Picatinny rail, which gives you about 19 centimeters of clamping space, which is plenty of room for most optics. The trigger blade is of a fairly standard curved design with a flat grooved face. Now it's a 2-stage unit and it is adjustable, though I found this one to be set up perfectly well straight out of the box. It's got a fairly deep first stage, and that comes to a clear stop before a clean and predictable second stage break. You've probably noticed that the safety catch is positioned just in front of the trigger blade. Now personally, I prefer the safety to be further away from the trigger, but this arrangement is very popular and it does make it easy to access. With this one, you simply push it back to get it into the safe position, and then you push it forwards when you're ready to take the shot. The Prospect runs a 12-shot magazine in 177 caliber and a 10-shot in 22, and you also get a single shot tray. Now that magazine is very simple to load. With the clear plate facing towards you, you simply push a pellet into the hole and then use your fingers to turn the inner drum to expose the next bay, and then simply push another pellet nose first into there. Now you just keep repeating that process. You increase the spring tension every time you rotate that inner drum until the magazine is full and you're ready to go. The magazine has a shot counter window so you can keep an eye on how many pellets you've got left, and it's driven by a side lever action which isn't reversible. Now, as a right-hander, that lever felt really nicely positioned to me, and it's a good positive mechanism which goes back with a nice snap after each cycle. It worked really well during my testing, quickly delivering shot after shot with absolutely no hitches. The 177 caliber test gun was running at about 11.3 foot-pounds at full output, and consistency was within 6 feet per second with Crossman Premier domed pellets taken straight from the tin, and obviously that was over a string of 10 shots. There is also a power adjuster wheel positioned just in front of the magazine slot, and that enables you to wind down power output by about a third. Air pressure is displayed on a gauge on the underside of the stock. Now, from a full 250 bar fill, you can expect this gun to return about 130 shots in 177 caliber and around 145 in 22, which I actually think is pretty good for a gun with such a slender cylinder. Now, when it is time to refill, you simply pop the cap off the front of that cylinder and then couple up with the supplied Foster connector. Accuracy wise, I've been pretty impressed with the Prospect. Now I have to confess that I haven't had time to do extensive experimentation with different ammo, but I've still managed to get it printing ragged single hole groups at 30 meters and whacking 30mm spinners at 40 meters. So it's certainly got the precision for tackling small pests as long as you're responsible with your ranges. So that's the Crossman Prospect PCP airgun. I really like it. It's producing power close to the UK legal limit, and it's capable of some pretty decent accuracy. I also like the fact that it feels to be so solidly constructed, and it's got that very practical synthetic stock. So if you're looking for a sensibly priced airgun that can handle the rough and tumble of proper use and yet still puts pellets in the right place, I certainly think that this one is well worth a look. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for in this week's episode, but as ever, I'll be back again with much more in 2 weeks' time. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, do check out the link in the show description that'll take you to the Airgun World 2024 Buyer's Guide. If you're looking for a last minute Christmas spend or you've got some money burning a hole in your pocket, it contains listings of virtually every imaginable air rifle and pistol on sale in the UK. Also, if you aren't already a member of the BASC, check out their website and have a look at the benefits that you could be taking advantage of through Airgun membership. Now, most importantly, from myself and the rest of the Airgun Show team, may I wish you a very Merry Christmas, and I will catch up with you again in the new year.
If you aren't a member of BASC, it's time to join now. BASC, looking after your sport, looking after you.